Good evening. You're watching the Cheese Room podcast. Apologies for our minor tardiness due to finding out that HG... No, not your fault, Andy, at all. Not your fault at all. Finding out that HG has got his priorities skewed and he's too busy watching Arsenal lose to Brentford than joining us here on the Cheese Room. Clearly, men cannot multitask. So, you know, what we're saying about that, I don't know. We've got a stellar lineup for you here tonight in the Cheese Room. We're doing a bit of Friday night previews and getting an opposition view every week through the season. And we are joined today by Manchester City Fan TV, not to be confused with Manchester City TV, which Andy corrected me on earlier. So let's just go around the room and say hi. Andy, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, I've had a very busy day. I'm looking forward. I'm going to the game on Sunday. So I'm very excited. I've got loads of questions for you guys and really looking forward to this show. In fact, I've been looking forward to it all week. I started the run sheet on Monday and I can't wait to get stuck in. So welcome to the Cheese Room.
Hey, listen, thanks for having us on. It's absolutely brilliant. And let's hope we have a bit of banter.
Absolutely. Oh, there'll be no lack of that. Absolutely not. Ross, how you doing? You okay? Welcome to the Cheese Room.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, same as Andy. Looking forward to it. Thanks for the invite. Also looking forward to the banter. Interesting to hear that one of your guys watches your arch rivals. I know for me and Andy, if the rags were on in the back garden, we'd shut the curtains. So
I think he's only interested in being beat, to be honest. And, but... Yeah, they're shit, aren't they? Let's face it, Arsenal. That's almost a foregone conclusion. Shannon, how you doing over there? You all right?
Good. Back in the homeland of Essex today, so feels good to be back with my own people and
loving
some hills,
life.
Loving life. Yeah, loving life. So
the only way is.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're on the Hotspur TV last night. Shout out Hotspur TV. Did you enjoy your debut? I should say. Put my teeth in.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously, some interesting debate as always, but had to take my positivity over there, didn't I? So
you guys on Man City Fan TV must have good debates about who you're going to spend money on. We sort of have debates about who we're not going to spend money on. And Dave, welcome to the show once again. How is Australia today? Still locked down? Still, happy as ever?
Well, the whole thing's drawn out, monotonous, repetitive. But enough about the Harry Kane saga. How are we all?
Very good, very good, very good. And hello to you at home. Welcome. If you're watching this on catch-up, hello. If you're watching this live, please do drop us some messages in the chat. We appreciate you watching us this evening. And hopefully we'll make this as interactive as possible. And if there's questions you want to get to the guys, obviously throw us a super chat or drop a comment in the box, and we will absolutely try and cover as many as we possibly can during the show. Please also smash a like and do subscribe and share as much as possible. That will really help us. We should talk to our guest first. So, Andy, let's come to you first, mate. How did you start supporting City? A lifelong fan, or oil money drag you in? What's the?
I very much felt that. My first game was 1977, March 1977, which was Man City versus Norwich. Dennis Stewart scored 2-0 City. My dad came down from Scotland, and obviously my mother's sister's husband was a massive blue, been following him since the 40s and 50s. Got him into football and into Manchester City, and I used to go with my uncle and my dad. And my first game was 1977, and it used to be in the Kippax in the corner stand on their shoulders, being passed around from, fella to fella to fella. Just when they had enough of me, threw me on somebody else's shoulders, because that's the way it was in the 70s. That was it. And I used to jib in and with all my mates and things like that under the turnstiles at Main Road. And then got my season ticket, and that's how it started. It was just Main Road was just a phenomenal place.
Through thick and thin. Well, I can certainly relate to that. Although it's mainly been not been much joy for being a Spurs fan for the last.
It was very much thin at Main Road. How for what I saw, because I missed the Colin Bell era in '76 and previous, but. Jesus, what a stadium! It was absolutely what a ground. It was brilliant.
I'm sure a lot of people watching can relate to it because we had our own White Hart Lane and that place used to absolutely rock. You're on the pitch almost with the players and
you see. I mean, I'm sure you probably are on social media on Facebook pages that do away grounds and things like that. And any time Main Road comes up, you get opposition fans from Scotland to Spurs to Arsenal to whoever going. What an absolutely amazing ground to go and visit. Not the nicest place to visit. Trying to get out of there and trying to get in with the ginnels and alleyways around Main Road. But it was a dangerous place. But what a fantastic! It was just an amazing ground. I miss it, but we have to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I feel the same about the lane. Ross, how about yourself, mate?
Yeah, started following City in 2008 just because they ruined football. First game, 1986. So I think I was 7 at the time. Aston Villa at home. Paul Molden scored 2. 1-3-1. Sat in the main stand. Remember just seeing the Kippax. Dad told me when I was a bit bigger I'd go in the Kippax, and I think the next season I was in the Kippax, sat on the wall halfway up. Just never forget the days on the Kippax. Just amazing getting there as soon as the turnstiles opened at 1 o'clock to be able to get a space to be able to see the game, and just was in the FA Cup game, which we was just talking about with Dave off air. So that was an interesting one. But and I think it's been great the last few years. For some reason, although I've still got my season ticket, decided to move to Australia just when we became good. So that's made it a bit hard. But some great memories, and actually one of my favourite seasons supporting City was the 99 season. Pretty much did every away game that year because I was at university. And again, the grounds, just go into those lower league clubs and every stand having City fans in, and getting 30,000 in Division 2, and just really good, just getting behind the players who for half the season were pretty shit, to be honest. And Joe Royal came in, and we obviously got in the playoffs, and I suppose, as they say, the rest is history. But I think definitely been there when it was bad, and I suppose like a lot of clubs, really, football comes in cycles, and I think the proper fans get what they want in the end. And that's my life as a Blue, really.
Very good. Dave, do the proper fans get what they want in the end?
Oh, look, Man City, I've been up to Main Road a few times and always got a warm welcome, particularly in the 93 quarter-final when Naeem scored and when Terry Phelan got the second goal. A lot of the City fans wanted to come on the pitch and discuss with the Spurs fans in the away end how the game was going and what the travel arrangements that there were after the game. And they were so friendly that at the end of the game, the stadium had cleared. They wanted to get back in, and they were talking to the police saying, "Can we come in and have a chat with the Spurs fans again?" It was lovely.
Fond memories, yeah. I'm welling up.
Great memories.
Well, look, Man City, as we all know, have got a team of absolute superstars, quality in every position. It's fair to say. I want to ask you two guys, what's your take on your pursuit of Harry Kane? So obviously from a Spurs perspective, well, we'll come to the Spurs perspective in a minute, but what's your views on Kane? Why chase so hard? Do you need him? Is he a player that you guys really want at City? And what are your thoughts around the general transfer saga? Because this has gone on for a long time now. Andy, I'll come to you first. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I'd have to ask you to qualify the question, because it's like, what are my thoughts on City pursuing Harry Kane? Well, I mean, we need a striker. We know, it's obvious. Gabriel Jesus isn't a natural striker. We've got rid of Aguero, who's now injured at Barca for 3 months. So you can see that sale was, that the releasing of his contract was probably right, which was probably driven by the medical team as well. So we need a striker. I think Harry Kane has been one of those players. I'll be honest with you. I think City last year in the summer would probably have gone for Messi and played with a false nine again, which we did last season successfully in the Premier League, for one. But I think they've just, I think they've got to the point. I think Pep wanted Harry Kane, but Messi was on the market last summer. That didn't happen. And I think City have got to the point where they've just gone, right, let's just drop the whole Messi thing. We're going to go back to a natural striker. We want Harry Kane. And I think, I think we need a striker. We do. We won the league at a bit of a canter last year, but we missed so many chances in front of goal. I mean, we've got a plethora of the most attacking midfielders and creators in world football, but we just don't have a natural goal scorer anymore. Aguero 2 seasons ago would have been that person. Kane is a natural provider and goal scorer, outside, inside, off his head, in the box. I mean, we laugh and joke on our channel about the amount of corners, crosses, free kicks that go into the box, and it's sometimes you go, what's the point? What is the point? Nobody is going to get on the end of them. Harry Kane will do that. So I think Pep wants him. I think he's been. You heard him today in his press conference, and he was probably a bit gutted that he mentioned something a few days ago about the Harry Kane deal, because normally Pep is pretty much respectful of opposition players, and normally sort of says, I'm not talking about that. And that's been his stance for nearly a year. But he said something the other day, and I think today he probably came out saying, I shouldn't really have said what I said, but I don't think it's any. It's not new news to anyone that City and Spurs are in talks for Harry Kane, and I think, I think Kane is definitely on Pep and Cheeky and Ferran's target list. Whether he'll come, who knows?
Do you think you'll sign him?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I think it all comes down to Daniel Levy. I don't think it comes down to anything other than what Daniel Levy wants. We all know he's a hard taskmaster when it comes to money. But I mean, if it was the other way round, and this is one thing I want to throw at you guys as Spurs fans. One thing I want to do, and I think City fans are always, not all City fans. I'm talking about proper City fans, not your social media City fans. I'm talking about proper, hardcore, going City fans who followed the team for years and years and years, or followed them for 5 years, but understand the whole ethos. It's like now we've got Bernardo Silva, we've got Aymeric Laporte. Rumours are they want to leave, and I think most City fans will go, well, if they want to leave, let them go. I can't think of many players at City where proper hardcore City fans have gone, well, that's ridiculous, don't get rid of them. Well, what are you doing? They go, well, if they don't want to be at the club, let them go. And I don't get that with some of the, I mean, no disrespect to you guys, less successful teams.
Well, we're certainly specialists at that, Andy.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if you guys were like Premier League champions every year and Champions League finalists and FA Cup winners and things like that, you go, oh yeah, no, but if we lost Harry Kane, that's really going to put us out for the next few years. But I don't get it, and I honestly believe City fans will go with Laporte. They won't want him to go. Bernardo Silva, they won't want him to go. But they'll go, well, if you don't want to play for the club, just get the most money you can for him. And I think, I think that's what Spurs need to do. The only problem being is that we've only heard the little sort of, words on social media from Harry Kane. We don't really know what the truth is. We don't know what Daniel Levy and Cheeky and Ferran at City are talking about. We don't really know what's going on. So I would say if Harry Kane wants to go, let him go, get the most money he can, which Daniel Levy will definitely want to do, and just go, thanks for the memories, on to the next player.
I think the problem with that is the question of you're probably not going to pay the money that Daniel Levy wants. But I can see Dave is frothing at the mouth. So I know he wants to say something. So I will come to you as well, Shannon. I will get to you as well, Ross. Dave, what did you? I could see you wanted to retort at one point. What was it you wanted to say?
Well, look, first of all, Ross is down in Melbourne, and I'm up here in Sydney. So I've got the Harry Kane fridge magnet here. Ross has not put in a decent offer for the fridge magnet. So unless he gives me the right price for it, it's not making its way down to Melbourne shortly. Look, the reality of the situation is this: is Harry Kane is our best player in a team that's not very good, whereas Man City in 2008, they got the golden ticket in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They got that's such a ridiculous opposition fan argument. I mean, it really is pathetic. Don't go in 2008. Oh, we got the golden ticket. You would take it. I tell you what. I was looking at something.
Oh, he would definitely take it, Andy.
You bought £525 million worth of players in the last 10 years. You've sold £475 million worth. That goes to show you the ambition of Daniel Levy and Joe Lewis.
But in the last
that's the top and bottom of it.
Yeah. But in the last 5 years,
as a club, you've got no ambition. None whatsoever. Why would Harry Kane want to stay at Spurs? He's clearly fed up of it because
I totally agree.
Hang on, Andy. Let him speak.
Andy, I cannot stand Enoch. I cannot stand the ownership of our club. Just like you couldn't stand Peter Swales, Franny Lee, and all the rest of it, right? Man City and Tottenham, up to a certain point, very, very similar. Shit ownership, shit managers, and a neighbour that overshadow us and ram down our throats their success and the way they played football. Pep Guardiola, he comes out last week and he basically, tapping up. We all know in the industry, in the game, everyone taps up everyone. We know that. But for him to come out last week and say, talking openly about it, I mean, if you like, on Sunday, we can just doff our caps to Man City and just let you stroll through to the goal and you can win the game and off you go. I mean, Pep is an interesting man. Pep's an interesting man because he goes on about the human rights, Catalan people, but he's quite happy taking the money from the UAE.
He's so boring.
You sounded like a dipper in a rag.
Can I just ask?
Where's Joe Lewis's investment?
I absolutely agree. I cannot stand Enoch.
Right, so don't bring up Man City then.
But the reality of the situation...
Don't bring up investment from Man City then.
Okay, but
how much has Joe Lewis invested in the area of North London? How much has he invested?
Well,
just remind me. I can't hear it. Sorry, what was that? How much?
Andy, the thing is, you won't get an argument from Dave.
Zero. We'll stop talking garbage then.
He won't get an argument with him about that.
Man City
talking rubbish.
Man City were fortunate to get government funded.
Stop bringing up the old garbage nonsense.
Andy, Andy, these are relevant arguments at the
They're
moment.
not relevant. They are irrelevant. They're irrelevant.
Andy, we've gone from a situation the last 12 to 13 years where Man City were like us and like a lot of your Evertons, the also rans of the league. They've got massive investment, and I totally agree. If someone came in and chucked us a load of money at us, and we could invest in the squad like we should do, I'm all for it. I totally get that. What I'm saying here.
So what's your argument then?
So no. But what I'm saying here is that Harry Kane and his camp have handled the strategy of getting out of the club as well as the Australian government has in the vaccination rollout. All right. Man City, Guardiola shouldn't have said what he said a week ago, and he knows that. He knows that, but he shouldn't have openly talked about. What? You don't do that, but you don't do that. There is a code amongst the managers, and Nuno said the same thing. But the reality is, Man City desperately need Kane. He's the final icing on the cake because they're not going to get Haaland, and Messi's gone to PSG, and as you said, that's what they were looking at last summer. Levy wants to set his price. Pay the price. City want Kane to agitate to get out of the club, so pay the price, and it's as simple as that.
I agree. But maybe if Joe Lewis didn't spend £112 million on a yacht and invested it into Spurs.
But Andy, you and I could fly over to you now, sit in your room, have a beer with you, go, absolutely, I agree. But that's another conversation.
Well, it's not, because it's the same conversation, because you mentioned 2008 with owner investment.
But that's
like I said to you, Joe Lewis bought Spurs.
Yeah.
Bought Spurs from the apprentice man. And in 10 years, £525 million. £525 million in 10 years you spent on players, but you've recouped £475 million back.
We're singing from the same.
It's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's not our fault that your owner doesn't invest in players.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you. But I just feel the way that City, what Pep did a week ago, is not what you do. You don't openly talk about buying another player. Every manager, the cliche statement is, "I never talk about another player."
I think Pep's history at Manchester City has been pretty respectful, to the point that he came out today and said, I shouldn't have said anything last week, and he apologised and said I shouldn't do it. I think he's been pretty respectful considering the amount of players that Man City have been linked with, and Pep gets questioned about every single press conference. He gets linked with players going out the club, players coming in the club, players linked with all sorts of players throughout the world. And he's generally 99.9% of the time said they're a Spurs player, they're an Inter Milan player, they're a Barcelona player. I'm not getting involved in this. And I think he was wrong. I admit, I think he was wrong. He shouldn't have said anything. He should have just stuck to his byline that he normally does. But I think he was just that fed up over it. I'm not excusing him, but he apologised today, and he did say in his press conference that I shouldn't have said what I said last week. I don't think that really makes a massive difference in the big scheme of things. If you're telling me that Daniel Levy, Kane's agent, blah 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 blah, cheeky Pep, are not talking or haven't been for the last 3 months, then I think you're delusional. I think it's an ongoing thing. Should Pep have said something? No, he shouldn't have said. He shouldn't have said anything.
We're going to park that right there for you two, because there's two people over there that I really want to get the view of. Ross, let's come to you. Did Pep tap Kane up, and can you see him going at the end of the day? Now, the crux of this is, I mean, I know there's a little bit of back and forth there, but the crux of this is, I think Spurs are looking in the region of 160 minimum. And personally, if I was Daniel Levy, having seen you just pay 100 million for Jack Grealish, who, by the way, is just 2 years younger than Kane, right? And probably less than half the player of Harry Kane in terms of what he's achieved in his career. And I'm talking 31 career assists and goals in the Premier League. Harry Kane, 200. So those are facts. If I was Daniel Levy, I'd be asking for like 200 million, 180 million, because we don't need to sell the player. Fundamentally, we don't particularly need the money. We don't want to sell the player. There's a debate there certainly to be had, as Andy raised, if the player doesn't want to play for the club anymore. and down tools, then that is an argument. But and Brentford have just scored 2-0. That's got to cheer everyone up, surely. Wow. If that's the case, can you see him signing for? We'll come on to the Spurs view in a minute, Shan. I'm going to come to you with that next, just to get a Spurs angle on it. Ross, what are your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, and I'll touch on a couple of things David and Andy mentioned after I answer that question. But I get it. I get that you want the most for your best player, and I get that Levy wants that as well. However, Harry Kane is a depreciating asset. Football's now a business. So next season, if no one, not just City, if no one buys Harry Kane this summer, next year he's 29, and his value is going to go down.
Just 29, by the way, just 29.
Yeah, but he will be. And then players like Haaland, who are increasing in value, clubs start looking at them. So there's also a business part of this. And it's like when you buy a house, you only get what someone's willing to pay for it. So he can want 200 million for the next 5 years. But I do firmly believe that City will have a value in their mind that they will go to, and that will be it. And City will walk away, and City will play the season without a striker if that means they've walked away from a deal that they believe they've had to pay over the odds for. Now, rumour has it today that City's top is 127. Now, is that 127 as a player? So at that, but that's what I mean. But with that 120, they'll just walk away from it. And then next year, you'll be looking at, you might only get 100 million for Harry Kane. He might get injured in the second game of the season.
To be fair, Ross, you could say that for any player. Might get injured.
You can.
Grealish has got a terrible injury record, and he could, the way he plays with his shin pads around his ankles, I'm not really surprised. He could get wiped out first game of the season against us and miss. All I'm saying is you could make that argument for any player,
and that's exactly why I make the point.
But
so that's something that has to go into the decision making process. But
I don't think he's going to depreciate much. I'll be really honest. There's a couple of things. I don't think he's going to depreciate much because he looks to play till he's 35, 36. He sees himself as a Messi or a Ronaldo. That's the way he personally sees it, and he said that on the record. So that's the first thing. He could go long. The second thing is COVID economics. Right now, the only people with any money are the clubs who've got financial backing. Not oil. Well, PSG have got plenty of money, to be fair. Let's face facts. City have got money. Chelsea have got money. United to a degree.
Hang on a minute. I've got to jump in there. There's a lot of clubs in the Premier League with owners who've got money to be able to back.
I agree.
I agree.
But
not just Liverpool have. Man United have. But they don't want to. And this is where this whole debate about human rights and City do. Actually, what the Sheikh's done at City's done in the right way. Do you know they're building something next to the ground that's going to create thousands of jobs for an area that's low in unemployment? But that's not good human rights. You've got Jurgen Klopp, who the media love, the media darling, who comes on and talks about City spending 100 million on a player who signed a goalkeeper for 67 million and a centre-back for 75 million in the same season.
He also recruited that money on Coutinho the season before, to be fair.
But that's okay for Jurgen Klopp to do that and to break transfer records. But when Pep does it, and you've just said, and to be fair, they got 100 million for Coutinho.
190.
How much have City generated in the last 6 months from transfer fees? £60 million towards the Jack Grealish fee.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're using for Liverpool, well, they recouped 100 million, then in that argument, we've paid 40 million for Jack Grealish.
Well, we sold 123 million pounds worth of players in the last 12 months.
Yeah, that's all fine. I suppose my question is, do you think you'll end up with Kane paying 160 plus? Because no. I think that's the money. No. I honestly think that's the money. And Daniel Levy, to be honest, Daniel Levy has got a lot of faults. The more lack of investment in the team. So we've built the best stadium in the country, if not the world, 100%. But the lack of investment in the team is scandalous over the last 10 years. Probably because we funded 450 million cash towards that stadium. So if you wonder where the money's gone to the Premier League,
but you took out a loan for that. So
no, the loans for the balance, Andy. The loans for the balance.
But that's no excuse. You took out a loan to build the stadium.
Well, no, we could. What I'm saying is, we could have borrowed an additional 450 million quid for the stadium.
You still took out a loan.
Well, yeah, we did, but we still also paid 450 million cash for it as well. So what I'm saying is, the debt would just be a lot higher, you know.
But there's still a loan. There's still a loan to it. I mean, how much was the stadium? Is it nearly
over $1 billion? Yeah,
$1 billion.
Over $1 billion.
I've not been yet. I can't wait to go. It looks, and I'm not going at the weekend. I've got work, but it looks an amazing stadium, and I can't wait to go to it. But still borrowed money, you know.
Well, we have to borrow money because we don't. You know, the owners are not paying. You know,
well, I mean, Joe Lewis is worth a lot of money.
3.5 billion, 4 billion, yeah.
Oh, how did City get their stadium?
And the rest.
Dave, pipe down. I'm going to come to you. Hang on, Andy, because I just want to cover it.
100-year lease. It's
can have the back and forth in a minute. More than happy to have the back and forth, but I just want to get Shannon in because bless her. 25 minutes in, and she barely said a word.
Sorry, Shannon.
So, boys, rate it in. Shannon, is Harry Kane leaving? And is 160 million the number that gets him, do you think? And furthermore, if he wants to go, would you sell him for 120?
No, because he's worth more than 127 million to Spurs, and Spurs is what's important to us. So, I mean, right, we're talking about football as a business. Harry Kane hasn't cost us anything except for wages. What Harry Kane gives to us in terms of commercial assets, so shirt sales, adverts, commercials, all that stuff, goals, assists, he's worth more than 127 million to Spurs. And he's got 3 years on his contract. Daniel Levy does not need to sell him. He can sell him next season. We still make a profit. And Daniel Levy, all he cares about is profit. So we do not need to sell him this season, especially as we don't have another striker and we need plenty of other players. He definitely will not want to be letting Harry Kane go. And he's come out and said, Kane is going nowhere. The number he wants is 160 million. So City can either pay 160 million or piss off, basically.
Can you do me a favour? Can you just post a link where Daniel Levy's actually said that? In the comments, can you just post a link where Daniel
It's common knowledge that Daniel Levy has said 160 million.
Post a link, because I've not read anything from Manchester City or Spurs about figures.
If you think... No, it's my turn to speak now. You've had your say. It is my turn to speak.
Go on, tell him.
It's my turn to speak. It's my turn to speak, so shush. If you think that you're getting Harry Kane, who is our second biggest asset, because actually Sonny is our biggest asset. If you think you're getting our second biggest asset for 127 million, you're talking about delusion. Well, if you think you're getting Harry Kane for that, you are delusional. He is not going anywhere.
Who said we're getting him for that?
If you think you're getting Harry Kane for 127 million, it is not happening.
Who said that? Nobody said that.
Up.
Nobody said that. So I've heard on this so far on the vlog, I've heard he's valued at 200 million and Levy wants 160. So which one is it? And I said, my view is City won't pay.
Well, Caller didn't say that he's worth 200 million. He said that's what he thinks he's worth in return for his goals and assets compared to Jack Grealish. Yeah. So he didn't say that. He is worth 160 million.
So, like, my point is, post me the link where Daniel Levy, according to you, was
160.
He is worth.
It's well documented by many respected journalists that report on Spurs to say that Daniel Levy won't start talks until he hears 160 million.
I've not read anything. Well, I read the Athletic and read everything else. Post a link. So I'm really interested to know.
Okay, I will go through and find all of the respected Spurs journalists that have come out and said Daniel Levy, Alistair Gold, Fabrizio Romano, all of these.
Fabrizio Romano. Okay, I'll look now on Fabrizio.
Alistair Gold, who is a Spurs fan and is a respected Spurs journalist. They have both come out and said
Twitter account.
So let's have it right. The 160 million came from Talksport, breaking news.
No.
And said Harry Kane has signed for Man City for 160. That's where 160
it's not come. No, it has not. No, it
That's
has not. It's not come from there at all. It has not come from Talksport at all. Not at all.
Talksport about 3 weeks ago said breaking news: Harry Kane has signed for Man City for 160 million.
Yeah. But that's not where the figures come from. It's always
that's where the figure came from.
That's been the figure since before that report came out.
It has, yeah, it has. I mean, like, if I can just interject,
you guys don't follow Spurs journalism like we do. We know when this has come out.
1 minute. Let me just interject.
What you have nothing to talk about because you don't sell anyone, you don't buy anyone. Why would we follow Spurs? Because nothing ever happens at Spurs. All you ever talk about is Daniel Levy.
We've signed 3 players this season.
Jesus.
We've sold.
Oh, Lord.
I don't know how many. We've sold more than that, but I can't off the top of my head. We've sold more than we bought, and I think we've got a 3 million net spend so far. But we're still doing. We've bought 3 players, and we're still after more.
Order.
To come out and try and say,
what are you going to win this year? What are you going to win this year?
But we don't support Spurs because of that. We're not.
True.
We know what we're getting supporting Spurs. We know we're not going to win anything. We can hope.
People support the football team to see them win.
We support them to see them win.
Hang on.
No one supports Spurs because they're after glory. Let's be honest. We support Spurs because we love the club.
Stop.
What are you going to win? What are you?
Hang on, Andy.
What did City win before 2008? Nothing. So you can barely say anything. You clearly didn't support City to watch them win. Caller, get up the stats. What did City win before 2008? 1975 was it? 30-odd year gold trophy drought. They didn't win nothing.
The last thing I want to do is put anyone on mute here, but you need to just listen to me. When I say break, that means unlock horns and let me speak. Okay? So listen. 160 million was a figure touted in the media. Let's be really clear about that.
No, apparently it was Daniel
Andy, come on, don't be mischievous. 160 million was a number in the media where talks start as far as Daniel. Now, this goes back to prior. My question is, Shannon, do you believe that Man City are going to sign him for 160 million? Just take all the emotion and all the noise out of it. That's the question.
No. I don't see Kane going anywhere this summer. It's been left too late, and City won't pay 160 million, which is what Spurs want.
Yeah. Okay.
Or 150 if he goes to a foreign club. They're the numbers, right?
I did read the quotes from the in the know Spurs people was that basically the Spurs board don't wish to sell him to an English club, and we've got form for this. If you go back to Gareth Bale, Luka Modric. Those players who were really important to Spurs did not want to sell them to English clubs, and we absolutely didn't. I suppose it's going to be. I'm interested more than anything. Kyle Walker obviously was a mistake, and I think we know it was a mistake. What do you guys make of Walker, by the way?
What a player! Unbelievable. By far, any City fan who thinks Cancelo is a better fullback than Walker needs to go and give their head a wobble. I personally think Walker is up there with the best right backs in world football.
I'd agree with you.
Ross, we're going to have to take, do you think that Serge Aurier is not as good as Kyle Walker? He did really well out of that deal.
I couldn't believe we got Walker. Like, I thought it was, like you said, it was a mistake for you. I couldn't believe more clubs weren't in for him.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, for some of the transfer fees that season that happened, looking now, it's the best piece of value. At the time, it looked like a crazy sight. People were saying, City have spent 50 million on a fullback.
Well, he's an athlete, isn't he? He's an absolute athlete of a right back. So, I mean, what is he now, 31, 32? Something like that.
31, I think.
He looks like the day we signed him.
Yeah.
But he's a better player. I mean, look how he can play. And this is where, the debate about Pep's not a good coach. He only can work with money. Well, I'd look at quite a few of the players in our squad and look what he's done to develop him.
Okay. So, question for you two guys: what's your priority this season? Champions League or Premier League? Andy, I'll go you first. Yeah.
Premier League all day long.
So Pep's got what, 2 years left on his contract, has he? And then he's off. Is that he's pretty much said that? Is it? Or tell me if I'm wrong in that. But
no, he's never said that.
But that's what the media are surmising, I guess.
No, just like the previous argument we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one knows what he's doing, and apparently he's very happy.
Yeah. So Premier League for you, Andy. Ross, for you?
All day long.
Yeah. Premier League and domestic trophies for me before the Champions League, because
do you think that's Pep's priority as well?
I think Premier League's always Pep's priority, and I think he's probably to his detriment, maybe for the club's hierarchy. He's shown that with some of his decisions in the Champions League. But for me, as a Blue growing up, like I dreamt of City winning the League Cup. Like so now, when they win that, that's still a big deal to me as a fan. I want us to win every domestic trophy because, to be fair, like when we played you guys in '94, it was a quarter final. That's all I'd seen, and I couldn't believe it that City were a couple of games away for potentially going to Wembley, never mind winning a trophy. And I remember in '99 for the playoff final, just being at Wembley for a game was like probably not going to get any better than this because we didn't know this was going to happen. So for me, it's Premier League. I still love the FA Cup. So
I was there for '81, so don't even go there.
So was I, Andy.
Yeah, it's horrendous. No, domestic. People will always go, "Oh, it's because you've not won it because of things like that." I don't buy into that. New fans, I think the big thing with football is that because if you were born and you were brought up around the Champions League and you buy into all this media hype about the Champions League. I mean, you only have to look, and no disrespect, but you had Spurs and Liverpool. Neither had won a Premier League or a Division 1 title in 85 years.
Yeah,
both were competing in a Champions League final. It was supposed to have been the biggest cup. I don't buy into that whatsoever. If City win the Champions League, great. It's another trophy. I don't buy into it. For me, it's Premier League. Day in, day out. Pep says it's the bread and butter. It's the hardest league in the world to win. And for me, I'm with him. It's the Premier League all day long. All day long. Champions League won't be the Champions League in another 10 years. It'll be something else. It'll be another career. Yeah, it'll be. Well, maybe it will be. Maybe it will be a horrible thing, horrible thought. But I mean, the Champions League, I don't like the whole thing anyway. But yeah, for me, it's your bread and butter. It's 38 games, toughest league in world football. And if you can go through, I mean, let's face it. I was only watching the City documentary, a little bit of it this morning. I've not seen it all yet, but you see that last 46 days, and Pep constantly said, this is the hardest league in world football. This is somebody who managed the best football team ever, in my opinion, in my lifetime, when I'm 51 years of age, in Barcelona, and then he went and managed Bayern. Dominated the German league, but he said this league is so different because there are so many teams that can win it, and it's tough. It's really tough, and we were 13th at one point after 7-8 games or something like that, and yet we came back and won it by 14 points or whatever else like that. And it is the most difficult league in the world to win, and it could be you this season. Up there, hey, but that is the Premier League.
Andy, we're a team in transition. That's what I would say.
Leicester. Who would have thought who would have thought they would have won it? It only takes a few teams to be not quite on the mark.
Yeah, you're right.
And who knows who could be in with a shout come March time? It could be anybody. If you're within 5-6 points of whoever's top of the league in March. pressure tells on players and teams and things like that. You never know. It is the toughest league in the world. That's why, for me, Premier League all day long. Forget what Liverpool fans say. They've won a couple of Champions League, and all they have to talk about is that they've won one Premier League in 30-odd years.
I'm surprised you say it, to be honest, because for me, the Champions League is the absolute pinnacle.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely is.
To me, it's just a crappy cup competition that you can win 7 games and win. You can win 7 games and you can win the Champions League. It's a for me.
I suppose I have misty-eyed memories of watching a final of Big City along the way, all the rest of it. Yeah. And but generally, Wednesday night under the lights, it's quite sort of romantic, and you're playing the big teams in Europe, aren't you? And not.
But I would say if it was the original European Cup, if it was the champions of every league, I would buy into that. I would definitely buy into it. Going champions of Italy, champions of France, champions of Spain. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all in for that. Absolutely. But when it's like playing some of the crap we've played in the Champions League group stages, it's like, it's awful. It is awful to watch. Really awful to watch. That's not Champions League. Get the winners of every league in Europe playing against each other. They want to go a world league and get the best teams, winners of every league in the world. Argentina, Brazil, and whatever, and do it that way if they want to do it that way.
Or Andy, I don't want to watch the Australian champions again.
Well, I know. But
right, moving on.
I'd be happy with it.
We've got obviously very important game at the weekend. First game of the season. It's great to see Arsenal losing 2-0. That's made my evening. Shannon, how do you think Spurs are going to line up this weekend? What do you think we're going to look like going in? Kane is a doubt, obviously, because he's only just come back from his isolation. What do you think the lineup's going to be?
I think it will be very similar to the starting lineup that was against Arsenal in the pre-season friendly. I think shock horror is going to be Dyer and Sanchez at the back.
Oh dear.
With Reguilon and Tanganga at left back and right back. Skipp and Højbjerg in the middle with Dele Alli having more of that free roll box to box. And then it's going to be Son, Lucas and Bergwijn.
Blimey. Dave, what are your thoughts?
I think that it's pretty similar. I think we'll have Skipp and Højbjerg in front of the back four, in my opinion. I think that my understanding is that De Bruyne and Foden are out for the game. But obviously they've got Grealish, Bernardo Silva, Sterling, etc., etc. So the reality is, I think we'll play it like to soak up the possession and try and hit them on the break. And that's the reality of the situation that we've got. I think the Bergwijn, Moura, Son interchanging up front, different positions is kind of like what City play and have played for quite a few years now. Is that what we're looking at? But the reality situation is, if we've got Dyer and Sanchez at the back, then it's going to be troubling. Yeah, we're in trouble. They're just not good enough.
Romero's not completely out of it, is he? He'll be at least on the bench, I would say, but there's a good chance he might start.
Yeah, I saw Nuno's press conference. He said he's got a slight knock. He hasn't trained as much, so he might play. But the reality, you want to sign a player early in the window to get them in pre-season training, as particularly in the defensive role, and getting used to the pattern and play and things like that. So I think that's going to be a challenge there. I think, for my understanding of City, and obviously you guys know more, that you've got players come back late from the Euros and Copa America who might not be match fit. So, and here he is, the Mariah Carey of the cheese room. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem. Mariah Carey, what's that about?
Diva, HG.
Oh, the diva. Well, because I want to watch football rather than talk about it. Yeah.
There we go.
Typical diva response.
It was great. I really enjoyed it.
I'm watching a guy crying that Brentford, he's a Brentford fan. He's crying in the crowd, bless him, that they've won a game.
It's their first game in the Premier League. It's a massive moment for their club. So good on him. I haven't got a problem with that at all. So look, I think I think it's a good time to play City because you got players coming back late. We've got players coming back late. We might hit you cold. Obviously, we're not going to give you our best player just for the moment, so we might have a little bit of a chance and see how we go.
HG, what's the starting lineup going to be for Spurs this weekend? Do you think? How do you see it?
I think we all know, don't we? And we've talked about it already, but I suspect Kane will be on the bench. He probably won't start, but it'll be a 4-3-3. I think we'll probably try and go for it a little bit. Højbjerg and Skipp in midfield with Dele trying to be the box-to-box to midfielder that we know he isn't. Son, Bergwijn and Lucas up top. Back four, I'd rather not think about, frankly. I think it'll be Dyer and Sanchez. I do. And we just have to hope and pray that since City don't have a striker yet, we might be all right. But I don't know. Like, did Gabriel Jesus go to the Olympics? He didn't, did he?
No, I don't believe so.
No, so he'll probably play for him. But it'll be about what we can do in an attacking sense. Like, I mean, watching the game tonight, Brentford weren't great defensively, but they did enough going forward, and Spurs hopefully can do the same.
Absolutely. Ross, how do you think City are going to line up for this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to pick the City lineup anyway with Pep Roulette, as we call it. But I mean, saw some images like of Walker on Monday. It was his first week back at training. I've not seen.
At least he turned up on Monday.
Yeah, but you could argue then that Walker, Stones, Sterling, like, who's he going to play? So I mean, I think Ederson obviously will be in net. Diaz will always be one of the centre backs, no matter how many games he's played. Diaz is going to start. I actually think he might start with Ake, just because I think he's trained more. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Ake. And then I think it will probably, I can see Mendy starting actually at left back. And then I think he probably will go with Walker at right back just because of his fitness, regardless of, like we were all saying before, just fitness wise. So I think that'll be the back four. I think Fernandinho might start this game instead of Rodri because obviously he's had a bit more of a rest in the summer and been at training a little bit more. And then I think Grealish will start. So that goes against the England thing, but I think just because of the fee and that he's trained and he was in the Community Shield, I think Grealish will be one of the middle, and I think the other one will probably be Gundogan. I think he'll go with Fernandinho, Gundogan, and Grealish as the middle three. Mahrez, who for me at the back end of last season was one of the first names on the sheet, so I think Mahrez will start, and I think it'll be potentially Torres on the other side because he's been back a little bit more, and then it'll be one of Bernardo Silva or Jesus as a false nine.
Okay, Andy.
Yeah, pretty similar. It's one of those with Pep. You've got no idea. You can never ever pick. I mean, we did it on our channel. Who's your team going to be? We've all of us presenters picked our team. I don't think anyone ever has got a correct Pep team. Never. It's just ridiculous. It wouldn't surprise. I mean, pretty similar to Ross. I think it'll be Walker, and I think Mendy might start. I think Diaz definitely. John Stones, I don't know. Maybe not with Diaz. I think Fernandinho over Rodri for me. Gundogan, Grealish, Sterling, Mahrez, and then whoever plays. It could be Torres. It could be Gabby. I don't know. I've no idea. I give up. I give up. I give up trying to predict a Pep team. We'll see. He'll probably play Liam Delap or he'll play some young kid. Who knows? But I do think it'd be a really, really difficult game on Sunday. I really do. I think it'll be a really hard game.
In what way, Andy? What I suppose? What do you worry about with Spurs when you play us?
I don't. It's not worrying about Spurs. It's worrying about City's lineup. It's not worrying about Spurs. You've got a great team. You've got great players, and on your day, we've seen what Son can do. I mean, Son, for me, I'd rather buy Son than Kane, if I'm being honest. But I just think I think you've got a great team. You've got great players. I worry more about us than I do worry about you, because I know if we had our first 11 out, I won't worry at all.
We worry about both, Andy. We worry about our own team and your team.
But I don't think you'll see anything. I don't think you'll see anything on Sunday that is anywhere near our 11 like you didn't last week. I don't think you'll see it. So that's what worries me. I think it'll be Pep's already got his excuses in, as people like to sort of say on social media. He's already said I think he's just being honest. We've had four players away on international duty, and he has been one of the managers that have said, "Go away, take some extra time, don't worry about it. We'll cope somehow." Even though people will laugh at it, going, "Well, you've got 24 players, you've got like 2 brilliant." It's not reality. It isn't reality that. But yeah, I think you'll see a real mixed bag on Sunday from City. And if we came away with a point, I'd take that. I'd take that.
Would we all take a 0-0, a nice boring 0-0 to start the season?
I'll take a point. Yeah. I'll take a point.
I want to draw, but there'll be goals because of we've got playing centre back.
Well, I can't remember what season it was. 10 years or so ago, I think we played Man City first game of the season and it finished 0-0.
Joe Hart had a great game that day.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like it's crazy.
I'm
like,
serious.
I know. I remember. Yeah.
Joe Hart was class that day. Absolutely brilliant. That was when Joe Hart was unbelievable.
HG, Skipp's obviously been away at Norwich. Is this cometh the season for him? I mean, he's you guys probably don't know much about Oliver Skipp. He's youth prospect, come through, looks the complete player in midfield. Do you think that I'm just going to nip out for a second, HG, while you answer this and pass it around the room by all means. Do you think that he is fundamental to our success this season?
Fundamental? No, I don't think he's going to be fundamental to the success. We've got some decent midfielders. I just think that against the better teams, we all know that City are one of those teams. Against the better teams, we're going to need two midfielders that are a bit more defensively secure. Most Spurs fans know that Harry Winks and Moussa Sissoko are not those players. So it does kind of mean that it's going to be Højbjerg plus Skipp. You could see Lo Celso maybe, but as we've all said, there are so many players that have just got back from international duty and just started training that it would be a bit of a push to have Lo Celso in there. But I think Skipp certainly it's one of those things. In certain games, for a 20-year-old to come in, I think he turns 21 next month, but to come in and play 15, 20 games a season, probably what Harry Winks did last year, that's going to be Oliver Skipp's role. He's benefited right now from the fact that he's had a full preseason with us, and I think that Spurs fans want to see what he can do. I don't know about you, Shan. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll be important, but not pivotal. So it'll be those games, like the tougher games, where we do need to be more defensively secure, that Skipp will play. But I don't think he just adds defensively either. I think his range of passing, switching up the play, things like that will help us against teams like City, trying to break them down. If we do get him on the ball, get him to do a crossfield ball to Son, and we're in. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to be in the 11 on Sunday. And then obviously you've got Højbjerg more in the pivot role, and Dele trying, like you say, to be box to box. I mean, he seems to be, watching pre-season, he does seem to be getting a bit more comfortable playing that role. He did have a few good chances. He hit the woodwork 3 times. So I think the more game time he gets, hopefully he'll get his shooting boots and we'll see him start scoring again, and he'll be the Dele Alli of old, which we could really do with. It'll be like a new signing. So, I mean, I'm quietly confident, just because the team that will play have been playing together in pre-season. So we're a bit more.
Yeah,
we've got a bit more rhythm.
It's a fair point. Like, I mean, I think we all know that Dele at times can be that box-to-box midfielder, but I don't think City is the game for it. Like, I mean, from when we watch City play, we're always aware that they have so many runners off the ball that run from deep, and we don't track runners really well. That's a massive issue for Spurs. So, like Dele, we all know how good he can be in front of goal. We all know the type of player he is. It's great to see him in the squad again after Mourinho did his usual stuff to him, but. Yeah, it's going to be a weird one. I would prefer to see someone like Bergwijn play in that role, or even Lo Celso. I wouldn't mind seeing Lo Celso and Skipp and Højbjerg together. Dombele is the one that we know probably won't be in the 20, but he's good enough to do that. I think he was the one who set up the goal for Son in the game last season. So, yeah, we've got lots of options, but I just don't think Sunday's game is right for Dele. Cola, what about you?
Well, I've got to interrupt because Bob's chucked in a super chat, so we will absolutely come to that and read it out. So Bob says, even with the players City have missing, there should be no excuses. Hence, I believe the owner is the manager and Pep is an over-glorified coach. HG shaking his head. That's never a good thing.
You have some delusional fans on this channel.
No, not just on this channel, Andy. We have delusional fans generally, but
Bob Spurs TV.
Let's refer Andy. Let's go to that then. So I suppose the question is Pep overrated? What's your view on Pep? I mean, obviously he's won everything with you.
Are you seriously going to ask me that question?
Yep, far away.
Is Pep Guardiola overrated? Are you going to ask me that question?
Calder, the answer is no. Surely the answer is no. He's not overrated.
I just want to get your take on it, really. I suppose it's a provocative question, obviously.
I don't know what take do you want me to have on it. Is it a yes or a no answer?
A lot of people believe in the Premier League, not just Spurs fans, that Pep's a checkbook manager. I suppose that's the point. So I suppose what's your comeback to that? Is Pep a checkbook manager or is he a fantastic coach? And what's the
how old are these people? How old are these people who say that?
Well,
they're like 13, 14 years of age, 15 Twitter accounts. I mean, I don't know who says that, because if you ask anybody, if you've got Sir Alex Ferguson and the likes of those going, probably one of the greatest managers that's ever lived. If you've got the likes of Alex Ferguson saying that, I mean, what else do I need to say?
Fair enough, Ross. Your view?
I just can't believe how. I think what Andy said there. You ask players who've played under Pep. You ask other managers, and anyone who knows anything about football. You look at how he changed City's team to play like we did last year without a striker. He changed the philosophy of how he played. Like from tiki-taka, he was bringing fullbacks into midfield. He's improved players. He's improved players like Sterling to be a world-class player, in my opinion. And this whole checkbook thing, I think there was a stat the weekend. The two lads he brought on in the community, he's brought 18 players through now who've made first-team appearances in 5 years.
He's won 31 trophies in 16 seasons in 740 games, which equates to a trophy every 24 games. And
I think the question as well...
And people still go, oh, yeah, but he was at Barcelona. Yeah, he brought through Messi. He made Iniesta. He made Xavi. He made Busquets. He made those players who they were. He's did the same with, players at Bayern. He's done the same at Man City. He's brought what was a decent player at Liverpool in Raheem Sterling to be world class. If people question it and it's all about money, then they don't know football. I'm sorry.
I think the question comes from A couple of things about Pep. I think the question comes from the fact that, there's obviously a huge amount of respect for his record. He will go down as one of the managerial greats of all time. There can't be any doubt or debate about that. He has found himself working at 3 clubs that have had a huge weight in their particular leagues with the financial backing and investment that they have, which means they get to attract a lot of younger. Hang on a sec.
How many trophies? How many trophies had Barca won?
Let him finish his point, and I'll come straight back to you.
Andy, I'm making 2 points about what maybe the motivation of the question is and the commentary around it. So the first point is Pep has got to work at Barca, Bayern, and Man City, clubs all in their respective leagues that have a huge, great infrastructure behind them, investment, can attract the kids, the best young talent around. Parents who have got kids who are amazing at football can go to these different clubs with their great academies and the investment behind it, which is a great thing. I think the question also would come, and where Pep would be challenged, and I know what your view was on the Champions League and the European Cup before, is that he hasn't won the European Cup in now 10, 11 years. And there feels to be, at times, in crucial games, that he seems to tinker for no reason. So the first leg against Tottenham in the Champions League, he seemed to rotate his squad for that first game, thinking that he'd come away from a result and didn't. I don't think De Bruyne started against us in the first leg.
He didn't.
Okay.
Couldn't believe our luck, to be honest.
Which seemed an odd decision. And then the Chelsea game in the Champions League final. And believe you me, none of us here in the white shirt wants Chelsea to win a European trophy. We were surprised by the fact, by the formation that he played. I don't think he played a holding midfielder in that game. And Tuchel seemed to outthink him there. So those really are where from a reasonable question, that's where the motivation has come from about his record.
Well, okay. Well, I'll say to you, allegedly the greatest manager in English history of football, Sir Alex Ferguson, won how many Champions League?
2.
Pep Guardiola?
2. I think it's 2.
2.
Which is the same as Pep at the moment.
Yeah. In, 20 years less? And how much money is, because it's all about money, how much money has Alex Ferguson spent since he came into United compared to Pep Guardiola in the present era? See, this is the problem. Yeah. It's like, well, hold on a minute. In the 90s, United were breaking records on Varane, on Rio Ferdinand, on Wayne Rooney, on all of these players when we were spending like £3 million on a player, our biggest signing. They were spending £30 million on a player. But they got 2 he got 2 Champions League successes in his whole time at Man United. Yet quoted as the best ever.
The question for me,
Premier League player.
The question for me on stuff like that, though, it's not just for you. Name the most successful managers in football in history and the clubs that they've been at. So this whole thing about the weight. So in the 70s, Liverpool paid the highest wages for players and attracted the best players and paid highest transfer fees.
Yeah.
All managers who are successful have been at big clubs and have spent a lot of money and have spent the highest wages and attracted the best talent. So all this, all of a sudden, Pep's not a good manager because he's done everything that any other successful manager has done in history. I just don't get it.
It's clueless. I'll tell you what, Craig Bowler, do you want to put? I'll tell you what. Let me just bring it up. I'll bring it up for you, just because obviously I don't know what your content of followers are like, but I'll bring up the actual wage bill. Let me see if I can bring it up. I can find it. I'll bring up a wage bill of clubs. And if you want to look at the wage bill of clubs, never mind what's been spent. The wage bill, City are something like 8th, 9th wage bill in the Premier League, just the Premier League alone.
Well, yeah, but you have to discount the 15 years where you weren't owned by the oil people, surely. I mean, and all the years that they weren't in the Premier League. And I'm on your side, boys. I'm on your side.
How racist is that comment? How racist is that comment? The oil company
Well, it's not completely racist because the money is from oil, isn't it?
No,
That's where they have their wealth.
What's it from? Well, go on. I tell you what. Let's have a history lesson here then about where was the money made from Sheikh Mansour? I'm sure you obviously know where he made his money.
No, I couldn't care less, to be honest. Like, but the thing is, like, no. Hang on a second. Like, I'm on your side here. I think Pep's a fantastic manager.
Don't make a comment without just coming back on it. You obviously, because this is what a lot of opposition fans do. They go, oil money. That's all you ever hear on social media. So just tell me exactly where the money came from that Sheikh Mansour invested into Manchester City in 2008. Tell me where it came from.
Wasn't it a sovereign wealth fund?
No. Yes. Nope.
So tell us.
No, you tell me because you're telling us it's oil.
No, guys, I'm on your side here.
No, you're not because you're using oil money. Tell us where it came
from. Okay, so tell me where the money came from. You still spent it. It doesn't really matter where it came from, does it?
Who did he invest in to save from the government and the taxpayers? Who did he invest in to save them from going bankrupt in 2007? That he made over £1 billion in. Who did he invest in to save the British taxpayers from bailing them out? Who did he invest in?
I've answered it 4 times, mate. If you stop talking, you'd hear the answer.
Can I just ask something quickly? Yeah. I haven't spoken for a while since I got angry.
Fire up, Sean.
If it weren't about the money, why do you keep getting so defensive when it gets brought up? Because you're getting defensive.
Not
you,
HG.
It's everyone's argument. It's just boring. It's everyone's argument.
But you get defensive. So if it weren't about that, why do you get defensive?
Guys,
it's like us getting defensive over we haven't won a trophy in 13 years. Yeah, we haven't, but we don't get defensive about it. It's the truth. But you've spent money. You've got to own it. You can't get defensive over it, and that's what you're doing. You're talking over everyone. You are being defensive because you're talking over everybody.
There's comments that are actually incorrect. Oil boys.
But But the comment that is correct is you've spent over £1 billion. You've spent money.
I never questioned £1 billion.
Not challenged that.
But you're getting.
I never questioned that.
Look, but you're raising your voice and getting defensive when HG and Wave are just trying to make their point.
I never asked.
You're getting defensive.
I'm not talking to you. I was talking to him.
Well, that's rude, isn't it? You need just.
No, I was talking. I was answering to him, not you.
But you won't let them speak because you're getting defensive over the question they're asking before they can even finish it.
I asked the simple question. I asked, why are you using the
and I answered it 4 times. I answered it.
And I asked the question, and he couldn't come back with an answer.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on.
I mean, like
again, one person speak at a time. It's frustrating for everyone watching. It's frustrating for everyone listening. You just got to stop talking over each other and give way. It's like being in the Houses of bloody Parliament.
No, it's not.
HG.
It's the same old.
Okay, look, as far as I'm concerned, we go back to the original question, which is about Guardiola. Guardiola is a fantastic manager. I don't really care where he gets his money or how he spends it. He spends it well, which is why City are as good as they are. Not only does he coach them well, he spends the money they have really well, and he buys really good players that can play the system that he wants to play. I don't think anyone can argue with Guardiola is not. I mean, forget the fact he's successful. It's what he does with the money he has. You can say the same thing about Klopp. You can say the same thing about any manager that ends up doing well with the money that they have. Spending money, we all do it.
Why use the word oil then?
Sheikh Mansour, right. It's because the Middle East is connected with oil. Now, I know quite a lot about the Middle East. I visit there. I've got friends who live there. Lots of friends who live there.
I train pilots all over the MENA region.
Yeah.
So I know quite a lot about the Middle
East. So you'll know that they've got the wealth fund that funds Man City. Sheikh Mansour has many different companies attached to it. Like he's got a portfolio of different companies. Manchester City is just one of the companies that he owns, and his personal wealth is 22 million.
He or the CFG group? I don't know. Because you obviously
Mansour's chairman of the CFG group.
So who is?
Mansour
is the chairman of the CFG group.
I believe so. Yeah.
And who are involved in the CFG group?
Various different shareholders.
Like who?
Well, if we want to talk political, it's the UAE.
No, political. No. Because
the UAE basically
HMRC get obviously income revenues provided to them every year. So you obviously must know about who are invested in CFG Group.
Are we going to talk about football again?
The bottom line is, Jake Mansour is invested in a lot of different companies.
So tell me where they got their money from and stop asking us questions. If you know all the answers, answer them. Tell us, educate us.
I don't need to because I don't call ourselves an oil group.
You don't need to? Well, then don't. What the heck is this? I'm going to debate with you, but not actually debate. This is crazy. I'm just going to tell you you're wrong, but not tell you why. You talk about 13-year-olds you like Twitter. You're doing it yourself. This is madness. Educate us, right? You're the one who wants to say that you're superior and that you know everything. So tell us.
Who has said that?
The way you're acting is like that, mate.
Don't keep calling us an oil group.
Well, so then tell us what you are. Like, educate everyone. If we're all wrong, if everyone is wrong, then tell us.
Well, if we're not an oil group, tell us where the money is.
No, you tell me. You know the answer. You're a City fan. I'm not. I don't really care about City. They're nothing to me. I'm happy when they beat teams that I hate, and that's about it for me. Okay. So tell me.
So if United spend hundreds...
No, City. I don't care about United. Tell me about City.
Hold on a minute. If the media say, well, it's all right, United generate their income...
I don't care about the media. I don't care about United. Tell us the answer about City.
Well, people keep saying, let me talk.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Okay. Well, if United generate their income, which the media always push, well, United can spend what they like because they generate their income. Tell me why City only generated 30 million euros less than Manchester United last year.
I can answer you that if you really want to go down that road.
550 million.
You can't answer a question. This is madness.
Andy.
No wonder.
FIFA. Obviously, you're aware there's a money. There are some money issues with Manchester City. The FIFA investigation is not closed, as was revealed. The reason you turn over so much money is because you've got incredibly lucrative sponsorship.
Nothing to do with FIFA. FIFA are world football.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, UEFA. You've got
that's closed as well.
You've got a lot of commercial sponsorship with Abu Dhabi-based companies, right? That are filtering money in. They also happen to be very connected to the owner. So basically, there is huge amounts of cash going in terms of sponsorships that are unusual.
Like $570 million to Silver Lake.
I'm not. I don't even care where they get their money. This is crazy.
No, but you've just said. But
then answer the question, mate. You haven't answered it. You've told us about the media in Man United. This is madness.
What do you want me to answer?
Well, where do you get your money? You haven't answered it. You're telling us about United and what they do with theirs and that they generate it. I don't care what the media says.
Every single bit of sponsorship money comes in has to go through HMRC.
Okay, so you get
by HMRC. Okay. Every single bit of it.
Right. So your money comes from sponsorship.
Still going back to 2013.
Your money comes from sponsorship. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, it's £50 million less in sponsorship than United have just got.
Right. Again, I don't care about United. Tell me about City. You know everything about City. Tell me about City.
So what's wrong with that?
No, I just want to know. Just tell me sponsorship. It was a simple answer.
Sponsorship. £124 million in revenue from competition just this season.
Great. Again, but I've had no issue with the fact that City spend the money that they generate. I might have
about whether you like it or not. You asked me where is the money come. I've just told
and about 10 minutes later, you probably told me
£24 million in competition money that has come into the club.
Yeah.
That's not player sales. That's competition money.
I know how finances work.
Everything
but I just wonder where the sponsorships come from, because City before 2008 wasn't really a global brand. Let's be honest. It might be now.
Yeah, but it is now.
Yeah, it is now. But what about 10 years ago when you started spending 30 million on Robinho and all the rest of it?
How can Spurs spend £1 billion on a stadium? Tell me where that money came from.
From loans.
Okay.
So there's your answer. That's how you answer a question. It came from loans.
Why would you loan money to somebody who's won nothing in
Before
Andy,
2008,
come
our
on,
goal
that's
drought
not
is less
right,
than
is it?
City's.
Our
Our trophy drought is less than City's pre-2008, and our trophy drought is less than City's pre-2008.
Your trophy.
So why would any? It is a fact because I looked them up earlier. No, because this is no. Listen to me. Listen to me. You're talking about not winning nothing, right? We last won our trophy in 2008. No. Oi, shush.
Don't oi me.
Hey, come on.
Whoa.
Let's keep it nice, please. Friendly.
Listen, right? We last won our trophy in 2008. We own it. None of us are happy with Enoch. None of us are happy with Levy. Just let me finish speaking. Stop being passive aggressive. Just let me finish speaking. Honestly, right? But City, pre-2008, which is when the money came in, regardless of where it came in from, that's when the money came into City, right? We can all agree on that. That's fact.
Absolutely.
That's fact. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what your point is.
They went 35 years without a trophy. So why would anyone invest in City? They didn't win nothing. That's you're coming at me with that point. But it was exactly the same with City in 2008. Why did Sheikh Mansour invest in City? They didn't win nothing. So you can't come at us with that point. Why would anyone invest in your stadium? Tottenham, by the way, are one of the biggest clubs in the world because of their history. Got more history than City.
Can we just stop? Can we stop on that history thing? Like, if you want to debate, forget
No.
If you're saying that City haven't got any history, then
City've got loads of history.
Just stop because sorry, guys.
Let me finish my point.
I've listened to all the arguments, and I'm looking at.
You haven't let me finish my point
about City fans not having morals and City fans not having history. Excuse me. Go back to the start of the stream. I was there when City was shit. So don't cover me with this.
No. You haven't let me finish my point.
Hang on 1 minute.
Ross,
none
of my points were at you. Andy turned around and said that no. Let me finish my point.
You're saying our club's got no history, Shan. You're saying
let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
No history. You've said it twice.
Let me finish my point. This is ridiculous. Andy turned around and said, why would anyone invest in Spurs? We haven't won anything. We don't win anything. Yeah, we haven't won anything since 2008, but we also made it to a Champions League final before Manchester City did. So we're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Of course, people are going to invest in Tottenham Hotspur. Every fan will admit we're not a global superpower that wins everything in the world, but we love our club. And there's plenty of people around the world that love our club. We are a big club, whether you like it or not. All I'm saying is my point is, Andy said, why would anyone invest in Tottenham Hotspur? They don't win anything. Well, Sheikh Mansour... Listen to me. Stop. Sheikh Mansour invested in 2008 in Manchester City without... they hadn't won a trophy in 35 years. So if it's about winning stuff and investment, then your argument is wrong. I'm sorry, but it is. It's fact. It's stats. It's fact.
What constitutes a big club? What constitutes a big club?
Probably revenue, if you ask me. Revenue constitutes a big club.
Because I think on the basis that we're talking about here, a Nottingham Forest, a big club, a Blackpool, a big club, a Preston, a big club.
So are you saying that Spurs isn't a big club?
Did I say that?
That's what you're insinuating.
Are Preston and Blackpool big clubs?
No.
Because they've got massive history.
Yeah, they've got a massive history.
I'm not talking about just history. I mentioned the revenue. We've got millions of fans around the world. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Top 10 in the world, by the way, which is why people would invest in Spurs. But if you're talking about...
I agree with you, Shan. You're actually 6th and City are 5th.
Exactly.
Clubs.
Yes, exactly.
But City, you're saying, only a 5th since 2008.
Well, what did they win before 2008? Let's bring up this caller. Let's bring up the stats.
Well, hang on.
Bring up the stats.
Is it not
history of the club?
I think we're getting slightly diluted down the path of my clubs get better than your club, and that's not the whole point of this. Really, the point of this is to discuss, the game that's tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line underneath all of that, and just spin around the room in terms of predictions of what you think's going to go down Sunday. Andy, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, City win.
Score prediction?
5-0.
Ross, any advance on 5-0?
I think it'll be 1-0 City.
Okay. And Sham?
I think it'll be 2-1 Spurs, and I think Sonny will get a brace because he loves to score against City, by the way.
He does
Even though he's overrated, but he loves to get a goal against City. That's all I'm going to say.
He's got a good track record against City, I will say that. Dave?
2-1, Ricky Villa and Naeem.
Yeah, go on. What's your real score?
1-0. Sanchez, both ends.
Very good. HG?
I predict Spurs to lose because we're playing probably the best team in the country, even if they've got a load of players out. Probably go 1-0 City. They'll get a goal and we'll huff and puff and do fuck all. It's basically what we usually do. So
Not weird, but we have the secret in the fly in the oil. It's Nuno, isn't it? Because we don't know. We're talking Mourinho language there, 0-1s and 0-0.
It's funny that having watched the Arsenal game, Arsenal were much better than Brentford for most of the game at keeping the ball and progressing the ball and getting to the edge of the area and then doing nothing with it. Whereas Brentford basically had 2, maybe 3 shots and 2 of them went in. There's something to say that. I mean, that's what Spurs tend to do to City anyway. City get all the possession, they miss a penalty, and then we somehow go on to win the game. I don't think it's going to happen like that on Sunday. I think City will get most of the ball and probably get the chances they need to win the game. But a lot of these games come down to how good City are at finishing. That's the big thing. If City have an off day, then we've got a chance of nicking it. But I just think that Spurs, we are in such a state of flux. Even if both sides have, 5 or 6 players out because of, Copa America and this and that and the other, City have played together for 3-4 seasons now, most of them. And certainly the better ones, they know how they want to play the game, and they should really go and win. If it was Tottenham at their best, it'd be a much more difficult game. We are probably quite lucky to get them first game of the season, but yeah, I don't know. I will always think that City should win because they've got better players and a system that they know that they've done for 3-4 years now.
Well, they've got better players and a better manager, in my opinion. So ultimately, on paper, they should win. But I can't. This is a Spurs show. Ultimately, I can't predict that. So I'm going to say that Spurs are going to draw with them 1-1, and Kane is good. This will settle the transfer debate. Kane's going to come off the bench. He's going to score a penalty because, as you quite rightly say, we love a penalty against City or a VAR, and he's going to kiss the badge right in front of the South Stand. So hopefully that'll be there, and I'll be there enjoying lapping it up. A man can fantasize, can't he? After all, right, we're going to wrap that up there. Look, Andy, Ross, it's been spirited. But thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate you both.
No worries.
Cheers, boys. Have a good weekend. Not Sunday, but cheers.
Shan, thanks for joining us.
As always, it's been a pleasure.
Dave, thank you very much from Australia. What's the time there now? Oh, of course, Ross is there as well. What time is it then?
It's 7:35. I might enjoy one of Sydney's many beaches more than Melbourne today. See how we go.
Mate, that's right, mate. Keep spreading it all around so we can all have to stay locked in like you all are in Sydney. Well done. Good on you.
I'm fully vaxxed.
Are you boys in the same sort of time zone?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. There you go. HG, thanks for joining us, mate.
No problem. Sorry I missed the first hour.
No, well, yeah, I should say thanks for dropping by, really. So, yeah, there you go. And in the meantime, come on, you Spurs. Let's hope for a good game Sunday.
Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers, guys.